CBP and FBI regarding invasive religious questioning of 4 of our plaintiffs, all of who are American citizens. Since the tragedy of 9/11, we've seen a steady erosion of the civil liberties of American Muslims and American citizens in general. What troubles us most about this case is that we tried exhausting all measures to get this type of religious questioning stopped before we came to the courts. We filed complaints with the Department of Homeland Security Civil Rights Division in regards to invasive religious questioning of some of our constituents, in which there have been no remedies thus far to stop this type of questioning. I'd also like to question the protocols of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, TSA, and CBP, and raise a broader issue of would it be acceptable for American citizens who are Jewish to be asked by federal law enforcement how often do they make the Sabbath prayer? Would it be acceptable to the broader American society if American citizens who are Catholics are asked how frequently do they do the rosary prayer? Well, in this case and in this lawsuit, we are raising the question, is it acceptable for federal law enforcement authorities to ask American citizens who are Muslim how often do they pray and where do they pray at? This is the crux of the matter right here. With that, I would like to turn over speaking to CAIR-Michigan staff attorney Lena Masri to go into some more of the facets of this lawsuit.
My name is Lena Masri. I'm the staff attorney for CAIR-Michigan. I'm also one of the attorneys that's co-counseling this lawsuit.
Can you spell your name, please?
Lenamasri. I also represent the 4 plaintiffs in this lawsuit. Over the past year and a half, a significant number of complaints were reported to our office by Muslim Americans regarding repeated invasive religious questioning about their religious beliefs and religious practices every time they cross the U.S.-Canada border and other ports of entry. Questions such as, how many times a day do you pray? Where do you pray? Where's your primary place of worship? What's your religious philosophy? Do you pray your morning prayer at your mosque? Last March, our office filed a complaint with the Office of Civil Liberties and Civil Rights with the Department of Homeland Security. However, we received a response from that department that their complaint process does not provide individuals any legal recourse or rights. As of today, we have not received any response from the Department of Justice regarding the complaints that we filed. However, the complaints have continued to come into our office, and something needed to be done, not only to seek justice for those who've had their rights violated, but also to put a stop to the course of conduct and policies that are allowing this type of invasive religious questioning to take place at the border. This morning, our office filed a federal lawsuit against TSA, the FBI, and CBP on behalf of 4 Muslim Americans targeted by the religious questioning. Our lawsuit is very straightforward. The ongoing and repeated questioning of Muslim Americans regarding invasive religious questioning of their religious beliefs and religious practices is a clear violation of First Amendment rights to free exercise of religion, Fifth Amendment rights to equal protection, and the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Thank you.
I'd like to now have comments from Sharif Akil, who is cooperating counsel on this case.
Sure. I'm going to be up here. I'll be 7 foot tall.
No, stand right here. You're too tall. You're too tall.
No, I just wanted to point out.
Spell your name.
Sharif Akil, Sherefakil. Religious persecution comes in many forms. Unfortunately, it has reared its ugly head at our borders by such invasive religious questioning. And the purpose of this lawsuit is to make sure that such persecution does not seep into our society. It's imperative to understand that this is not this is not a Muslim thing. This is an American thing. And it's about religious freedom, and it's about being where you are very personal with your religion, and this is something that's really not any of the government's business. Thank you.
Can I ask what remedy are you seeking?
Sure. Well, there's a wonderful law. It's called the Religious Reformation Act, and it provides that a federal government cannot target one religious group over another in a discriminatory fashion. I mean, if you ask everybody, do you go to church, do you go to the synagogue, do you go to the mosque, that's fair game. But if you ask only one religious group, do you go to the mosque, and you don't ask others, then that's discriminatory treatment. So it's really religious persecution. They're targeting a group based on their faith affiliation, based on what they believe, and how they practice their faith. And that's unacceptable. And that the purpose of the lawsuit is to deter such conduct.
So are you asking a judge to order these agencies to stop this? Or are you also seeking damages for the individual plaintiffs? What are you seeking?
It's twofold. There's injunctive relief. It's fair game. You can be questioned, you can be asked where you're going, where you're coming from. That's fair game. But you cross the line when you start to probe into your religious practices. How many times you pray? Do you pray in the morning? That has nothing to do with national security. That's one fold, and that is to seek. So that line should not be crossed. And the second thing is, under the Religious Reformation Act, the plaintiffs that were targeted with such invasive questioning, they are able to seek damages for that.
And there's a certain amount. Is there a threshold for the damages?
No, that's something to be decided by the peers, their own peers.
Can we talk to the plaintiff?
Sure.
Thanks.
We actually had two plaintiffs, but I'd like to have a comment.
This is a pattern that we've seen with Customs and Border Protection and the Border Patrol all across the country. Stopping people because of their race and their religion, not because of any sort of criminal activity. When our government targets people because of how they look or what they believe instead of their activities, not only does it undermine our religious liberty, it undermines our national security. What CAIR is suing about today is not just about a few individuals, it's about our values as a country. Are we going to be the kind of country where people are targeted based on how they look, how they pray, what they believe? Or are we going to be smart about how we keep ourselves safe and base our border security on real, rational threats, not hysteria, not Islamophobia, not racism, and not fear? I hope that this lawsuit today is the first step in Customs and Border Protection and the Department of Homeland Security finally taking civil rights concerns seriously and engaging in a process of real reform to make sure that our country is kept safe, but that our civil liberties are protected. When they're spending their time interrogating people because they're Muslim instead of because of their activities, it's a waste of our tax dollars and a waste of our government's time. I want to thank Dawood, Lena, and CAIR for all the work they've done these past years, and I would like to hand things over to the plaintiffs.
I'd like to call for Dr. Ali Suleiman Ali, who is one of our imams. He's an American citizen, raised from Ghana. He's also my teacher and my religious guide.
So can you say and spell your name, please?
My name is Ali Suleiman Ali, A-L-I, middle name S-U-L-E-I-M-A-N, last name A-L-I.
So what happened to you?
Two things, or more than two times. Last one was in December when I was coming from Toronto. I was stopped at the tunnel for 5 hours. And then I was questioned a lot of questions. One of the questions that I remember very well, the officer asked me, what is your philosophy of religion? I said, what do you mean by philosophy of religion? You mean I'm extremist or moderate or liberal? He said, yes. And I refer him to a book which my name was mentioned in the book. I said, look at that, you see that I'm not extremist, I'm Muslim. So this is one of them. And the Port Huron, when they detained me for about 4 to 5 hours. Also, they asked me what masjid do you go, or what you doing over there, and so on and so on. So that's what happened for me 2 times at the border. I'm not talking about at the airport when I'm coming out of the country.
So they're going obviously beyond. Do you have anything to declare? How long were you in the country? So you base this on what?
Well, when I told you when I was coming from Canada, I went there for 1 day. They asked me, did you attend Islamic conference which is taking place in Canada? I said, no, I did not attend that conference.
So you must have been insulted. So talk about that. Talk about what it was like being interrogated.
Well,
basically detained for 5 hours.
Yeah, well, at Port Huron, they put me against the wall, and the brother, they handcuffed me, and they went through my body, my wallet, this wallet. They took it from A to Z. They took everything from the inside the wallet. So that's what happened in Port Huron. Was very, very, very serious things. But the interrogation at the tunnel was too deep. They asked many, many questions. The same question all the time when I was coming back to the country. The same question.
So how do you think they even knew you were Islamic? Did they just assume from your name, or were you wearing some sort of garb? I mean, how did they pull you aside to assume that you were Muslim?
I don't know. I can't tell, but I just can't tell. I don't know how they know about it. I don't know.
You know, that does something to the human spirit. So when you left there, what was that like for you? When you left after being handcuffed, thrown up against the wall, and questioned like that, just tell me what that was like for you as you were leaving.
I was very surprised. I was very shocked. Why they handcuffed me? What? I'm not a criminal. Although the officer told me, and that we have to do this. Okay, we are not taking you to jail, but we have to do it. They handcuffed me.
I'd like one of the other plaintiffs speak. This is Sam Sharif-Uddin. He's actually a community activist. He's also a school teacher.
And you were detained as well?
Yes.
Can you give us? Yeah. Can you give us your name? Sorry, guys.
My name is Sam Sharif-Uddin, and since
Can you spell everything, please?
sure, the first name is Wissam, and last name is CHAIRAFEDDINE.
Can you spell that again a little slow? I'm sorry.
Sure, the last name is CHAIRAFEDDINE.
Where are you from, sir?
I'm from the United States of America.
No, what city?
From Dearborn, Michigan.
Sorry, I should have been more clear.
From the planet Earth.
I'm used to profiling.
What happened to you?
So since 2008, since I've been crossing the border back to United States, since 2008, this has been consistent. I am detained for a few hours, treated like a criminal. Right when my passport is swiped, right away there's a panic situation. Officers come out. Sometimes I'm handcuffed, escorted to the building. I'm detained for anywhere between 3 hours to the most one was 8 hours, and questioned and searched thoroughly. The same type of questioning repeated time after time, including religious questioning. My faith is questioned, my type of activities are questioned, everything in my wallet, in my car are questions. If I have books in different languages, I'm questioned about them. Any business scribblings, names I've written on any of the papers, I'm treated like a criminal, and everything I have is questioned. I stopped, I have family in Canada. I had to stop visiting. My business was also affected by that, and I can't travel with my children because I don't want them to see me treated like a criminal. They're not going to understand that. I can't travel with my parents because my parents, last time I crossed, they were very furious. They told them, if he done something wrong, then take him to court. Why do you treat him like this every time? And this has been ongoing for the last 5 years till now.
What is it like for you when you have to cross the border? When you feel like, oh, I've got to go to Canada, just give me your thought process. Just give me your thought process. I mean, do you get chills?
The last year and a half, I just couldn't go for any form. I have relatives who got married. I have relatives who died, and I just couldn't cross, and they understand. It just causes me psychological torture just to know that, okay, now I have to go through that, and it's unexpected. Nobody has an explanation. Nobody knows how long it's going to take. You're just facing the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen next because nobody knows, nobody explains, and you don't know what you've done. So you don't know what you're going to get. And this is just a psychological torture. I've been interviewed by a French radio before, and he wanted to do it at the border, and I told him I can't. I can't be there. It's just my feelings just change when I get close to there. And I've looked for all kind of venues to treat that, and CAIR has taken that since it has been a consistent religious questioning for me. I mean, one of the times I told them just can I just not declare my religion? I just wanna. Who told you I'm a Muslim? Maybe I'm not a Muslim, and they just kept. They just give you different question from different angle. Where do you pray? How many times you pray, etc.
Is it a bunch of them? Is it one of them?
Well, every time there's a different officer who question you. Sometimes I've been interviewed by more than one officer.
When you ask them, is it protocol for them to do this? What do they respond to?
Yes, they all look oblivious. Nobody knows what's going on. It all looks like it's coming from above. Everyone acts like they have no authority to change anything, and they just ask you to be patient.
So you have a regular passport. You don't have Nexus or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Same with you, sir? You don't have Nexus?
No.
Okay.
Can you have that?
Wissam Sheriff. WISSAM CHARAFEDDINE.
And I'm sorry, what do you do for a living?
Well, currently I have a business, and I'm also working as an educator.
You're an educator, and you, sir, are an imam?
Imam and educator.
An educator as well. Okay.
And where does your family live in Canada? Because you have your parents
I have
over
some,
there?
no, not my parents, but I have some relatives in Montreal, Canada, and some relatives in Toronto.
And Imam, you were saying that in November,
December
they followed you for 5 hours after you left?
In the car? In the tunnel.
And after you got out of the tunnel, they followed you in the car?
No, they didn't follow me. They pulled me out.
They pulled you over and detained you for 5 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.